Hey guys, it's Nik the Booksmith. Welcome back, welcome back. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different that I've been thinking about for a long time, and I thought, today's the day. I will be working on a project, a craft project that I learned from a couple other YouTube videos, which I will most certainly link down below because you're going to need them. They'll be down below for future reference and exact technique. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be making a permanent silkscreen stencil. I've done the silkscreen stencils before with the Cricut, cutting out the thing out of vinyl, just regular vinyl, and then the vinyl sticks on and you can make several shirts, and then but as soon as that stickiness adhesive on the back of the vinyl, it kind of wears out its stickiness, and then you have to start all over, or the paint messes it up or whatever. So I had purchased a long time ago, this is embarrassing, 2 years ago, some HTV, which is the one that sticks forever if you put heat on it, that one, because I wanted to try to make a permanent one. And I came across a couple of YouTube videos the other day and I thought, yes, this is what I wanted to do. It is possible because they showed me it was possible. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to make a permanent silkscreen stencil that I can just wash off and reuse, you know, a month down the road if I want to, and not have to send more vinyl through the Cricut and have that do that all over again, because silk screening is super cheap and you can get frames from the dollar store or the thrift store or all kinds of places and just kind of But what's different today, because you're like, Nik, it's a craft project, you do these all the time, what's so different? Let me tell you. I'm going to tell you what's different. I'm going to be doing this craft project, but I'm not going to be talking about the craft project. So that's why I say the videos will be linked down below, because it's going to be story time. It's going to be story time. You guys know how I love true crime videos. I'm going to tell you a little story, and this true crime story is one that grabbed me. It was probably one of the first ones that I actually paid attention to, because it had to do with young people. They're a little older than me, you know, probably like 5, 6 years older than me, but still, I was at a very impressionable stage. And I just remember when this happened, and this was back in the late 80s, early 90s. It kind of crossed over from 89 to 90, so yeah, I was a teenager. So, but I just remember this. I think Oprah did something, or it was in like a glamour magazine, and then it was like there was like a current affair or hard copy, one of those. I say true crime with quotations because they were kind of Jerry Springer meets Dateline. So if you like true crime and crafting, you have come to the right place. Alright, so our story begins back in the Middle Ages of 1986. And Lisa Ann Sahaski graduates from high school. She lives in Wisconsin, central Wisconsin, which is where she was born and raised, in a small town outside of Wausau or something like that. There's several little towns in a group together. And I cannot see the edges. Jiminy Christmas. Where is it? There it is. She graduates from high school. She has dreams of becoming a travel agent, which is oddly specific. So good on you, Lisa. And she enrolls in a technical college course for travel planning. At this time, she is and has been dating a boy, young man, named Bill Buss. He is a few years older than she is, and he lives in the same area. He and his family live and work on a dairy farm. He loves the family business and he's really good at it. His cattle have won several awards, state awards for milk production or productivity. I don't know however they say it. So, you know, that's sexy, right? Before Lisa leaves for her college course, however, she tells Bill that she thinks that they need some time to grow up and be on their own, which, I mean, that's a very mature attitude. So again, Lisa, go girl. You can tell she's not one of those girls that are hanging on every word and action that their boyfriend or significant other does. She wants to be her own person. So go Lisa. Bill doesn't want to. He really doesn't want to break up. He doesn't want to take a break at all. But he knows that this is what Lisa wants, and so he reluctantly agrees. She goes off to college to see the world in, you know, Minnesota. Woo! Well, you know, you gotta start somewhere, right? And she ends up coming back after she aces the class, 6 months later, and she gets a job at a local Howard Johnson's at the front desk. Hojo's. I can't see the edge of this thing. Pretty soon she is promoted to assistant manager for catering and sales. She's just one of those kids that, I don't know, got it all together. How they do it, I don't know. More adult than I'll ever be. During this time, Bill starts dating another local girl named Lori Easker. She is 20 years old. She graduated from the same high school that they went to. And at this time, she is studying agriculture and journalism at U of W in River Falls, which is a couple hours away from where they all live. While Lori is away off at college, because she goes during the week, and I guess she comes home most weekends. She also has dairy cattle. She has 17 head of cattle, and Bill keeps them at his farm and tends to them while she is away at school. By January of 1989, however, Bill starts to distance himself. He feels like their relationship is it's coming to its natural demise. He still misses Lisa, and he starts calling her, and pretty soon they are chatting on the phone on the daily. But of course, he neglects to tell Lori. Because if we could just stop the story there. Guys and gals, if you're ever feeling the same way as Bill, like this ain't working, be honest. Be honest with the other person, because it's better to just rip off the Band-Aid right now, quick, and get it over with, than let it fester. Then you have to lop off a leg later because it's got gangrene and it's moldy and oozy and gross. And then the leg is mad at you too, and because you just could have saved it all this trouble. It's bad news. So just don't do that. But being the dude that he is, Bill, he lets things string along until summer. So there we are. Isn't that cute? And all the while, up until Lori comes home at school, she's always talking about Bill. She's saying that they're engaged. They're not. She's shopping for wedding dresses. She shouldn't. But she still doesn't have a ring. So her friends are like, You know, Bill lets this go on. And now it's summer. It is June. And Lori is home from college. She is living her best life. She is crowned Dairy Princess of Marathon County. Thank you very much. She is just happy as a pig in slop or a cow in hay. Thinks things are just awesome. Now remember, Bill has her 17 head of cattle at his farm. So one warm June evening, the end of June, she goes over to the farm to help with the evening milking, as you do. And who does she see standing outside the barn? I'm sure you guessed. This is when Lori flips her cow patty. A shouting match breaks out. It didn't end well. A week later, she goes back to the farm to talk to Bill. You know, what the heck? What's the deal, right? And Lisa's there again. So, ugh, yikes, right? Another fight breaks out, and Bill tells Lori that he doesn't want a relationship with her anymore, that he still loves Lisa. So, at least it's out there, right? So that night, Lori is extremely upset. She calls Bill's best friend, his name is Alan, and she cries on, where's the thing? Cries on the phone to him for 2 hours about this whole situation. And Alan would later say that he always liked Lori and that he was just trying to make her feel better. But all Lori would do was she just kept sobbing and crying into the phone. I could just kill her. Lori starts to go to some desperate measures. And not once, but twice, she puts on sexy lingerie and sneaks into Bill's house in the middle of the night and gets into bed with him. And twice, he kicks her out. Lori, you're killing me. Show some dignity, sis. The summer ends. Lori goes back to college. She still fixates on Bill and is constantly trying to figure out how she's going to fix their relationship. Meanwhile, back at home, Bill is like, I'm going to ask Lisa to marry me on her birthday, which is October 25th. And this is where things start to get juicy, but not in a good way. I'm waiting for my thing to heat up back here. The Cricut thing that I never use. Figured I should use it. So fast forward to the middle of September. It's like September 18th, and somebody lets it slip that they heard Lisa is pregnant, which Lori flips her crap again, because if Lisa is pregnant, then that means Lori is forever going to be in the friend zone. That's it. Game over. She calls Bill to confront him, but he denies that the rumor is true. New tactic. She calls Bill and she tells him that she has just come to the realization that it's not going to work between them. She understands that he and Lisa are back together. She wishes them all the best and she's going to leave them alone from now on. And isn't that refreshing when someone realizes that a relationship isn't going to work and is strong enough to walk away, even when they still have feelings for that other person? So mature. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you guys really... Gotcha. Kidding. Not gonna end that way. A few days later, Lori makes a couple of phone calls. She phones Lisa's work to ask about her schedule because she wants to give her a secret surprise birthday party. And then she also leaves a message on her phone's answering machine that says something a little like, hey, this is Lori. I'm going to the library. Maybe I will talk to you later. Bye. And her friend was like, oh, okay. Good to know, I guess. But does Lori go to the library? Fat chance, heifer. She rents a car from Wolf Auto Sales in River Falls, where the college is, points her car in the direction of home. I realize this is a cabinet door because I'm fancy like that. Okay, so where was I? So she drives home in this rental car, and she drives to Lisa's work where she knows she's working, and then waits in the parking lot for Lisa to clock out. Ugh. That was ladylike, right? Lisa clocks out from work and walks out to the parking lot where Lori confronts her and says, hey, we need to talk. And Lisa's like, okay. So they get into Lisa's car to talk. But pretty soon it goes south. Lori confronts Lisa and asks her about if she's pregnant or not, which is kind of rude. You don't know her that well. And Lisa is not having this conversation. Not with Lori. None of her business. And this is when Lori says that Lisa lunged for her. You know, that will be later. She'll say that Lisa lunged for her. Do we know if that's actually true? We don't. We don't know that. It's Lori's rendition of things. So we can take that with a grain of salt. You'll find out why later. So she says Lisa lunges for her, and Lori, in the struggle, happens to see a belt lying in the back seat, and she grabs it and she overpowers Lisa, wraps the belt around her neck and pulls it tight. Because that's what you do to people, right? When you're fighting over a guy. Oh, Lord. And this was my generation. I don't even have the millennials to blame on this one. Then Lisa goes limp, and Lori's like, she passed out. She dumps out Lisa's purse and to get a mirror, and she holds the mirror up underneath Lisa's nose to see if she's breathing. Spoiler, she's not. So at this point, Lori grabs the belt, and as she's getting out of the car, she notices that Lisa has a ring on her finger. Thinking it's from Bill, she takes the ring off of her finger and heads off back for the college. The next morning on the way to class, she dumps the ring in the trash and the belt goes into an incinerator chute. So there went that. Back at home the next morning, Lisa's mom, Shirley, is getting really, really worried, as you would, because her daughter didn't come home from work the night before and nobody has heard from her. So she's calling around and still no signs of Lisa. So on her way to work, Shirley goes by Lisa's work just on the off chance that she had to work over and then forgot to call home. And she sees Lisa's car in the parking lot. And that is when she horrifically finds her daughter's body in her car. Authorities start questioning friends and family and neighbors. And when they talk to Bill, they ask him, as they usually do, do you know of anybody that would want to hurt Lisa? And immediately he says, Lori Easker. So that's good. When the first thing your ex-boyfriend thinks when he's asked about you is that you murdered somebody. So that's not good, right? That would be bad. Lori was one of 18 suspects that were interviewed by the police, but she became the focus of the investigation after giving some inconsistent statements during her initial interview. Okay. 5 days later, authorities ask Lori to provide fingerprint and hair samples, and she does. Then they ask her to take a polygraph test, which she does and fails. After she fails the polygraph test, the test examiner says to her, sometimes good people cause accidents. And that is when Lori breaks down. She starts sobbing and she says it was an accident. So she pours out her heart to the polygraph examiner, which probably not the person you want to pour your heart out to, but okay, Lori. After listening to Lori for about an hour, the polygraph examiner calls the sheriff deputy back in, where she is read her rights and she is asked if she wants to make a phone call. When she can't get a hold of her mom, she waives her rights to talk to an attorney because she doesn't want to wait for one, and she just starts talking to the police and answering their questions. She tells the police that she just wanted to talk to Lisa to just talk things out, just to get it out in the open. And when the argument got heated, that she feared for her life. She thought Lisa was going to hurt her, but she didn't intend to hurt Lisa. She said, quote, "I thought she was going to kill me or really hurt me. I put the belt around her neck and she started grabbing at my hair and my neck, so I pushed her. I don't know if it was the belt or my elbow. I was so scared. Investigators ask Lori to demonstrate what she did to Lisa. So Lori tells the sergeant to grab her arm, which he does, and then he puts his other hand to her throat, like Lisa's lunging for Lori, like she said. At this point, and this is when Lori puts her left forearm against the sergeant's throat. He would later write in his report, quote, that Lori was not shy at all or hesitant how she did this. Instead, she was aggressive and applied a great deal of pressure to my throat with her forearm. As a matter of fact, she had me off my chair and up against the wall in the interview room in a split second. She had it, the belt, wrapped around my neck and once again applied a good amount of pressure, this time using the belt. Lori is a strong, powerful woman. Lori did get an attorney. His name is Stephen Glenn. And he would say later to the judge that he felt her statement was coerced. The arraignment hearing was on October 2nd of 1989 at the Marathon County Circuit Court. And this is where she was charged with first-degree murder and held without bail. There was a bond hearing 3 days later. Let's give this one more press. And Lori's attorney argued that, quote, she doesn't pose a threat to the community unless Bill Buss has a third girlfriend. That's not a huge vote of confidence there for the community, right? Not great. That's not great. But Judge Michael Hoover releases Lori on a $100,000 bond. The judge orders her to stay with her parents and away from key witnesses like Bill Buss and Kelly Meverden. It was Lisa's best friend. Opinions were divided amongst the little towns that surrounded. Some looked at Lori and her shattered future and felt sorry for her. Even her college, like the faculty and classmates, wrote a letter to encourage her to stay strong, which is odd, but okay. Some felt that it should be Bill on trial for stringing the girls along and creating the situation. And one mother said they'll do anything to avoid blaming the Dairy Princess. So yeah. The trial began almost a year to the day that she had been crowned Dairy royalty, and it lasted about a week in June 1990. One of Lori's former roommates, named Tammy Zach, testified about a phone call that Lori made to her after Lisa's death, where she said, and I quote loosely, Lori said they began talking and then fighting over Bill. But when Lisa pulled her hair, she grabbed a belt, put it around Lisa's neck, and she fainted. Others would testify that Lori always called Lisa a slut. I don't know if I can say that word on YouTube. And that Lisa only wanted Bill for his money and his farm. You know, all them cows.
She had said that she hated her.
She said that she hated Lisa because Lisa had taken Bill away from her.
I hope one of these has staples in it. Then Bill testified about that night, or 2 nights, that Lori snuck into his house in lingerie. You know, that looked great. The pathologist, whose name was Robert Huntington III, explained that it would have taken 2 to 6 minutes to stop breathing, to die. Lori's attorney kept questioning the accuracy of this. So the pathologist says, well, I guess we could line up 50 lawyers and strangle them and test it out and see what happens. That's a burn. Lori's attorney's gonna need some sunscreen. Just before midnight on June 14th, 1990, After deliberating for 7 hours, the jurors come back with a verdict. Guilty.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Lori K. Easker, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide.
Judge Hoover then sentences Lori to life in prison and eligible for parole in 13 years and 9 months instead of the usual 20-year wait.
I really believe they were going to convict her first-degree murder.
So her first parole hearing was in 2017 while she was serving her sentence at Robert Ellsworth Correctional Institute or Correctional Center in Union Grove. But it got pushed back to August of 2018. And then it got delayed again until July of 2019. See if that worked. And on July 16th of 2019, Lori Easker was then 50 years old, and she was released to serve the rest of her life sentence on parole. And that, my friends, is the story of the Dairy Princess killer. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I'm just 5 years or so younger than these folks, so I remember hearing about this case. Does anybody else remember hearing about it? Do you like my t-shirt? Crimecraft. I thought a little logo t-shirt might be fun. And I want to sprinkle these in and around my other videos just because I am a true crime enthusiast and I love behavioral analysis. I wanted to be in forensics. That was my dream. There was a small college near us, like a small community college, but it didn't have any forensic classes or anything like that. So that didn't happen. And there's probably math involved. So, you know, your girl would have struggled with that. So it has always been something that has been my passion because I feel like it's hard to solve a problem if you don't understand the problem. I think that's kind of where my brain is on that. So I want to sprinkle these in amongst my other videos. Of course, I'll always be Nik the Booksmith. I'm not changing that. I just thought this would be a fun sprinkling, a dash, some seasoning every once in a while on the channel. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have heard about this case, let me know down in the comment section below. If you are new here, welcome. I hope you grab some popcorn and that comfy corner in the couch that you've got broken in with your own butt dent. Just, you know, settle in there and watch a video or two. There's over 500 now, so my earlier videos are, well, you know how you grow and you become more comfortable in front of the camera and all that stuff. The first videos are kind of timid, demure Nik. That wasn't really Nik. That was just me stumbling and not knowing what to say while being shy. And I'm just not shy about it anymore. I stumble and don't know what to say, but I'm confident about it. All right, guys, thank you for hanging out with me today and listening to my Dairy Princess killer story. I couldn't hardly find any information on it other than just a few little snippets here and there, but like nobody on YouTube is talking about it. I think I found one thing that was done several years ago, and it was part of like other crimes that had gone on, but it wasn't by, you know what I mean? It was like, really? Nobody's talking about this? How nobody picked up on this. I mean, especially with that tagline. It's like, wow. That'd be hard to live down. That would be rough. I hope Lisa's memory lives on and what she stood for, and I hope her family still carries a little piece of that with them. Big hugs to all of you out there. I will be back and I will see you really, really soon in the next video. Bye, guys.